authority coverage will begin shortly. Your live weather authority coverage starts right now.
Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Saturday. Hope you are enjoying your day so far and enjoying your weekend. We are, of course, tracking some severe weather this afternoon. And so I'm here filling in for Ryan this weekend as he's out of town in Florida. And we are tracking that severe weather moving on in. So let's dive right in here. First up, we've got a severe thunderstorm watch from York County through southern New Hampshire. This goes until 8 o'clock this evening, although the severe threat probably does come to an end at least a little bit before then, towards 7 o'clock or so for most of us. And just because the watch only includes York County doesn't mean we're all out of the woods. Up towards the Lakes region, over towards places like Freiburg and southern York or southern Oxford County, and potentially extending all the way up to maybe even Lewiston, we do have that risk of some severe weather during the afternoon. And in fact, we already have a warning going on in portions of the area. This is for the Portsmouth area down in Seacoast, New Hampshire, as well as far southern York County down towards Kittery. This one is moving offshore, so it should be coming to an end pretty quickly here. But again, just the beginning of what looks to be a several hours threat here for that severe weather. And this severe thunderstorm warning that we've got down in southern York County, extreme southern York County, extending into the seacoast. This one goes until 3 o'clock. So for the next 25 minutes or so. And again, it looks like the main cell of this storm has moved offshore now, or is about to be moving fully offshore. But just keep this in mind. This continues for the next 25 minutes or so for Rockingham County in New Hampshire, as well as extreme southern York County here in Maine. So again, we are tracking this threat for some severe weather during this afternoon and this evening. This will continue through about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock or so, and it looks like damaging winds and hail are the largest threats here. However, could even see a tornado. That's not out of the question during this afternoon. So let's take a look at the big picture here. This is what I'm really keeping my eye on, this line of severe storms off to the west. This is pushing into southern New Hampshire now, moving in from Vermont and western Massachusetts. Looks like the strongest storm cell, which is down at the southern end of this line here, going to be crossing through southern New Hampshire and potentially making it into York County, basically from Sanford southward, it looks like, although really anybody from the Lewiston area southward does have that threat potentially of seeing some stronger storms. And it looks like this is really trying to solidify now into a fairly well-defined line of storms here. You can see all that lightning. We've got several severe thunderstorm warnings off to our west in Massachusetts. And you can see how this is sort of organizing, if you follow my mouse pointer here, into a line of storms that will then push to the east and sweep through the area as we head into the evening. So keep this in mind. Again, if you've got plans, you're out and about, or you're about to head out and about right now, maybe you're going to a Kentucky Derby party or something like that, just keep in mind that these storms will be rolling through during the afternoon and the evening. I know many of us are seeing sunshine, warm temperatures. This is the calm before the storm, if you will, before these storms do push in as we head into the afternoon and evening. You can see where that severe threat is highest, where those temperatures have gotten really, really warm. I would say from out towards Bridgeton, Naples, over towards Raymond, out towards Windham, Standish, down through Sanford, and along the Maine Turnpike here down into New Hampshire. That's probably where we have the highest risk, as the air is the most unstable. We've had the warmest temperatures there, the most sunshine, and that has allowed things to really become unstable, sort of like a pot of boiling water. Of course, where the water is warmest, that's where it's boiling the hardest, and that is where we have that highest risk of severe weather. So again, York County especially, keep this in mind. If you're in York County watching right now, I would expect some not so fun thunderstorms to roll through with some strong winds, some hail. Yes, there could be some power outages, could even be a tornado as well. Doesn't look like a super high chance of that, but there is a possibility that we see a tornado warning. So I'm going to run through all of these severe weather threats here. I'll come back to the radar in a few minutes. So if you're just joining in and you want the radar breakdown, I'd say hold on just a couple minutes. We'll come back around here and we'll talk about what to expect or what we're seeing out there right now. So here's a look at that storm threat for today. Notice that sort of tan shading there, and I apologize if I'm not getting that color exactly right, but that tan shading in the Portland area over towards places like Brunswick, extending up to right around Lewiston, out through the Lakes region and into places like Freiburg and southern Oxford County, and up towards the Oxford Hills as well, all the way south through York County, where we have that yellow area. That's where we've got a higher or the highest risk of seeing severe weather. So west of Sanford, down through southern New Hampshire and into Massachusetts, that's where we've got that highest risk of seeing some severe thunderstorms for today. So keep this in mind. Again, this is from now through about 7, 8 o'clock, although especially towards 4, 5, 6 o'clock, it looks like that severe threat will really be ramping on up. So again, that's where we've got the highest threat, York County down to the south, and that's where we have that severe thunderstorm watch ongoing right now. And while it's mostly a damaging wind and hail threat, this is our first tornado threat we've had in quite some time in Maine. Notice this little green area here, or tan, whatever color this is, that shading extending into York County with that slight chance of a tornado. Only a 2% risk, but again, there is the possibility that we do see a tornado warning. This is also extending through southern New Hampshire and down into Massachusetts as well. So not just severe weather, there's also a tornado threat. It's not a high threat, but it is a possibility as we head into the afternoon and evening. So again, it's a possibility we do end up seeing a tornado warning. Now, again, here's big picture. You can see this line of severe storms that is quickly organizing off to the west. This is the main severe weather threat. And there we go. We just had that severe thunderstorm warning down in York County and down into Rockingham County, New Hampshire. That has expired now. So that's some good news as that storm moves offshore. But west of there, again, that's the main severe weather threat here that will be pushing into mostly York County, but extending up into portions of Cumberland County as well as we head through the afternoon and the evening as well. So keep this in mind. Again, there is that severe weather threat, and by far the most or the biggest severe weather threat we've seen so far this season. So looking at the velocity here, this is a look at rotation in the atmosphere. I mentioned that potential for severe weather or for even a tornado. Luckily, none of the storms are spinning at a really intense rate right now, so that's good to see. No imminent tornado threats at this point. But we're going to continue to watch this velocity, the spin in the atmosphere as we head through the rest of the afternoon. So again, wind, hail leading the threats here. Could also be some street flooding. These storms will be putting down some very, very heavy rainfall, so keep that in mind as well. Not going to be the best time to be driving around 4, 5, 6 o'clock. And again, the tornado threat is low, but it is not zero as we head into the afternoon. And I'm sorry, that should not say Monday. That should say today for our Saturday and afternoon and evening. So for tonight, as we head through the overnight hours, we'll see our temperatures bottoming out around 50. After 7, 8 o'clock or so, things will be pretty quiet through the rest of the overnight. And thankfully, no severe weather forecast for the next several days, but plenty of rain we will see plenty of rain as we head into the afternoon. Wilton, Gardner area, you are in the clear. It looks like that severe weather threat stays south of you guys there in Gardner. Power outage chance from thunderstorms and or wind in the Wilton, Farmington area. Connor, looks like, again, the severe weather threat should be staying mostly to the south of you. Up there towards Farmington. So some good news at least there. And again, Gardner as well. Probably mostly clear of the severe weather threat. Lewiston to the south, it looks like that's where we've got that highest risk, especially in York County, it looks like. And again, that timing now through about 7 p.m. So let's track these out here. Here comes that line of storms as we head into the afternoon, 4, 5 o'clock out towards Sebago Lake, out towards Bridgeton, Naples, maybe even a little earlier than that, more towards 4 o'clock or so. York County, same story here. Northern York County, Limerick, Leamington areas, maybe more towards 4 o'clock, towards Sanford, more towards 5 o'clock or so, and then reaching the coastline around 6 o'clock or so this evening, probably weakening as they get to the coastline, but could still be some strong gusts or even some hail down even into the Portland area or along the coastline as well. And then things will wrap up pretty quickly after that. By 7, 8 o'clock or so, should be mostly quiet across the state, and that threat will come to an end. But again, damaging winds and hail possible with any storms that roll on through. And here's how things look for the rest of the weekend. Not a washout tomorrow, but definitely damp. It looks wetter to the north. So Lewiston, Augusta, up towards places like Farmington, probably pretty damp Sunday. South of there, not as wet, but still not a completely dry day with some off and on showers through the day. cool temperatures as well. Highs only going to be in the mid 50s for most of us. And then unfortunately, trends for Monday, especially in southern Maine, look wetter. So Sunday, it's rain to the north, drier to the south. Monday, it looks like rain to the south, drier to the north. So Monday, it may be that Augusta, maybe even Lewiston stays dry, but Portland, Sanford, York County, and down into New Hampshire are pretty wet. So keep that in mind for Monday. Could be a pretty wet start to the work week, at least in far southern Maine. And then more rain into Tuesday and Wednesday, a very persistently wet pattern that we're in here as we head towards next week. And in fact, through much of next week. So if you're enjoying the 70s today, soak it in, because tomorrow we are much cooler, back down into the 50s. And before we go back into our severe weather threat for the day today, we will see. I'll bring up our 7-day forecast here. You can see as we get into tomorrow, we're seeing some showers. Pretty cool stretch Monday and Tuesday. It looks like Tuesday definitely wetter than Monday. Pretty wet on Wednesday as well, with showers and the chance for a storm. Thursday also looking for the chance of a shower, and unfortunately Friday trending cooler, chance for some showers. I saw somebody comment about this, potentially for some rain and snow mix for Friday, but yeah, I wouldn't count on that. I would say it's more than likely just going to be all rain across the whole area here, even in the mountains. But if things get cool enough, maybe we could see some mountain snowflakes on Friday. Yes, in May, that is a possibility. These upper lows, which are very cool, tend to have the possibility for this. So we'll continue to watch as we head through the week. Beyond that, maybe next weekend is finally the weekend where we break this rainy weekend stretch and rainy weekend streak that we've been in. So keeping our fingers crossed for that. But again, let's get back to the severe weather threat here. I'm going to jump back through what we are expecting with that. And we are again expecting the biggest threats to be from wind and from hail. And I'll go back through all of our graphics here, and I'll break down what we're expecting through the rest of the afternoon. The good news is that the severe thunderstorm warning that we had down in York County has now expired. And what about Naples? Yeah, I do expect that there could be some strong wind gusts there. Looks like towards maybe 4 or 5 o'clock or so in the Naples area, maybe even a little earlier than that, Rich. Could see some damaging winds and even some hail there as well. I do think, Cameron, that there will be some storms in Auburn. Iffy on how severe they'll be. I don't think the severe weather threat is particularly high in the Auburn-Lewiston area, but some gusty winds are possible, and certainly some rumbles of thunder and lightning as well are possible there as well. So keep that in mind for the afternoon. Again, these showers and storms off to the west in southern New Hampshire and in Massachusetts, probably an hour or two out from reaching us here in Maine, and that's when we expect that highest risk of severe weather. Good news is the severe thunderstorm warning in the Portsmouth area and up into far southern York County has expired. Thankfully, that is moved offshore and things are looking much quieter now. And again, still watching for this to be moving into southern Maine somewhere around 4 o'clock or so as we get closer to the evening hours. So again, this is when we do have that highest risk of severe weather. I think you'll probably be okay in Wiscasset, Maureen. Probably just some rumbles of thunder this evening. Being right along the mid-coast there probably keeps you safe from any major severe weather. It looks like you're sort of out of that severe weather threat there. Allie, what is the wind looking like for Sanford? Could be some strong winds there. In fact, you're in the highest threat area. Notice that it's 76 degrees there right now, Allie. That means that things are pretty unstable. So as the storms roll through, could very well see some very strong wind gusts there, potentially up to 70 miles per hour. There is a possibility we lose power. It doesn't look likely, but there is a possibility. And again, for Sanford, if you're watching right now asking about Sanford, again, we are looking at that risk of very strong wind gusts there. In fact, that's probably where we have the highest threat, or one of the highest threats in the state. So if you are north of Lewiston, you're north of Bridgeton or Naples, you're north of Freiburg, somewhere along that line, there's really no severe weather threat. There's just the risk of maybe some rumbles of thunder, maybe some breezy winds. So if you're asking about your town and it is north of those points, there is really not a major risk of severe weather. It's south of Lewiston, south of places like Naples, Bridgeton, Freiburg. That's where we've got that stronger risk of some severe weather, especially in York County. So those commenting from Sanford, Acton area, you do have one of the higher risks of severe weather. Kennebunk as well, also included in that. As you can see in that shaded area, you are included in that down in Kennebunk. So again, there is that risk of some stronger storms. And while it's mostly a hail and a damaging wind threat, there is that risk of even a tornado as well out from central York County westward into southern New Hampshire. So again, as I mentioned, if you are north of the Lewiston through about Bridgeton, Naples area over towards Freiburg, north of there. So I'm seeing people commenting from places like Winslow, mostly going to be okay there. It looks like this is just mainly a far southern Maine threat here. And out towards Buxton, there is that risk of some severe weather as well towards the evening hours, and out towards Pleasant Mountain as well. That is a possibility that we do see some gusty winds more towards 4 or 5 o'clock or so in the Bridgeton area, although you're sort of the northern extent of this. And again, I'm going to pull up the severe thunderstorm watch here just to show you where we think the highest severe weather threat is. Again, this is mostly far southern Maine. So if you're watching from central Maine up towards Skowhegan, maybe up towards Farmington, no real risk of severe weather expected this evening. And you can see down here in far southern Maine, it's York County into southern New Hampshire where we really have that risk of seeing some severe weather. So again, we're going to continue to watch these storms as they roll on in. The lakes region also could be impacted by this. So out towards Sebago Lake, very possible that we do see some strong storms there. Again, I'll pull up our severe weather threat here for this afternoon and this evening. It does include the Sebago Lake area. I see a couple of you commenting about that. And if you live along the immediate coast, I would say your chances are much lower. It's not zero in places like York County or maybe even the Portland area, but over towards the mid-coast, places like Phippsburg, I'm not really expecting any severe weather there. The storms, because of the ocean being so cold this time of year, probably going to be weakening pretty quickly. So you can see here on our radar, it's places like Sanford, which are very warm right now, that have that highest risk of seeing some severe weather. And you can see along the Bridgeton, over towards Lewiston, down towards about Brunswick line, anywhere south of there, that's where we've got that risk of severe weather. North and east of there, that severe weather risk is really quite low. It would just be some rumbles of thunder. So we're going to continue to watch this. Nothing too concerning is jumping out at me at this exact moment. I'll again pull up that tornado threat as well. And we'll take one final look here at the radar. You can see that quickly organizing line of thunderstorms that will be pushing in. It's mainly going to be impacting York County, but again, could extend inland as well out towards Sebago Lake through the Portland area also. So we're going to continue to watch this as we head through the evening. Should be mostly done by about 7 o'clock. I'll either be hopping on here again for another Facebook Live as these severe storms roll into the state, or you can watch us at 5 p.m. on CBS 13. And of course, we'll have the update on what to expect. So I'm going to wrap things up here now. Of course, you can go back and rewatch any of this coverage, and of course, go onto our website and onto our app as well. And we will have all the updates for you on the forecast. And again, I'll probably be jumping back on here on Facebook as well as we head later into the afternoon and evening and as these storms arrive. So again, stay weather aware, keep an eye to the sky, and remember when thunder roars to head indoors. Again, that risk of damaging winds and hail is the highest, but couldn't rule out a tornado as well. So stay tuned. And of course, we'll keep you posted as we head through the rest of the day. Have a great evening and stay safe out there, everybody.
This has been live interactive Weather Authority coverage from CBS 13 and Fox 23. Make sure to stay connected with CBS 13.